Goji Center's Hall of Shame, honorable mentions, and top 16 are out. That means that no more hybrids are going to be mentioned as of now. Out of 1,655 submissions, 1,469 of them, the vast majority of them were not mentioned at all by Goji Center. And so I recently did a community post asking people to send their hybrids if their hybrids didn't make it to the top 16, honorable mentions, or the Hall of Shame. And I'm going to try and explain why they didn't manage to make the cut. So we're going to be starting this off with failure profile number 1, which is Polediorex. 19 or more different animals, which is going to be a big problem in terms of congruity. Unless if you're some random daring guy who decides to slap in like 10 or more Carchara into one hybrid, that way it keeps its congruity. This is not keeping its congruity. Looking at the genome itself, we got the Giganotosaurus, as you can see here. For the base, it already lacks in agility, especially compared to the Indominus. Leviathan, okay. There's the pangolin, which actually works. Gorilla works. Bumblebee for wings that create static electricity. Man. Seriously. There's a bunch of invertebrates and aquatic animals here, and even though some additions are good, for example, the pangolin, other stuff like the Leviathan, Bumblebee, Blue Whale, it could potentially backfire. And this hybrid size is really pushing it. Overall, I think the main reason why it did not end up in the Hall of Shame is because some additions like the pangolin, the honey badger, etc., they are quite good. So that saves it from being the Hall of Shame in the first place. It's quite close to being the Hall of Shame, honestly. Hybrid number 2 is Benjamin, but he gets its own video, so we're going to skip it. So we're skipping ahead to failure profile number 2, which is the Spinoplotyrannus, which is going to be renamed. Now, when it comes to the genome, it doesn't seem half bad. I mean, the axolotl, I only have one gripe with the axolotl. Even the Sarpasalpa works. But from what I can see here, the genome isn't bad. It's actually quite good. But the art over here is what ruins it. Look at those horns, and you'll see that they can be easily exploited by the Indominus. You'll also see that its body as well is just way too long to do an effective charge. Honestly, the only thing that needs to be fixed with this guy is the drawing, because otherwise it could potentially work. Let's move on to failure profile number 3, which is Axel, and it does not have an image, so it's going to be a slight problem. But as you can see here, the genome isn't quite creative enough, and 20 feet is kind of pushing it when it comes to height. Wall raccoon does grant venom resistance, even immunity, as well as the vampire bat. Otherwise, this is just not creative enough. This doesn't seem like it's submitted for the hybrid war, so we're not going to be counting this. So we're going to be taking a look at failure profile number 4, which is Carchara. The proportions for this thing are okay, I'll leave it alone. The problem comes when you use basically every single non-theropod to a theropod base. At this point, when it comes to this, you should just use an Ornithischian build instead of a Carcharodontosaurus as the base. Preferably either a Ceratopsian build or a Hadrosaur build. Most creatures here are quite a good idea, probably except for the polar bear though, but like, This hybrid, despite being quite badly drawn, is more accurately proportioned than the other hybrid, than that other Ceratopsian hybrid, which, in terms of that, those dimensions, those proportions, the body itself killed it. Failure profile number 5, the Diabloimperium Rex, is once again an imageless entry. Shunosaurus and T-Rex are a decent idea. Triceratops, unfortunately, when it comes to goring, it's just not a good idea to try and gore with a biped. A facultative biped, sure, but a strict biped, no. Looking at this genome, you'll see that even though its additions, some of them are a good idea, in theory, like the domestic pig, it's actually a very good idea. The ability to allocate toxic buildups. The domestic pig is fine. Actually, was this even submitted before the hybrid war? Was this even submitted for the hybrid war? Even then, it's an objectively worse Gilgamesh. Either way, let's move on to failure profile number 6, which is Adam, as you can see here. Now, every single genome here is a decent idea, except for the fly, which in a large animal would definitely not work to decrease its reaction time. As well as that, a crocodilian isn't really an optimal build. It's not even a crocodilian. The Sanguiceras is not a crocodilian. But like, a crocodilomorph build in general is just not optimal for attacking the Indominus. Cetosuchus is an exception, due to it being tall enough. I also have reservations about the hyena's cardiovascular system on a cold-blooded animal. It's not severely underscaled or overscaled though, and that is probably why it didn't end up in the Hall of Shame. Honestly, I'm surprised this hybrid was not put in the Hall of Shame. The JP3 Spino. It's a fine idea since it proves to be a good grappler and combatant. There's the Allosaurus, which is also fine, chimpanzee, but then there's also the cheetah, okay, giving it extra speed, which... No, it's not the cheetah, it's the Allosaurus. So, 30 to 45 miles per hour for an animal that is 9 to 14 tons is just really ridiculous. And 25 feet tall, 60 feet long is the one that's submitted, and honestly, it's also pushing the limits. I feel like the only reason why it wasn't put in the Hall of Shame was because this over here is quite well done, and it isn't blatantly overscaled. I have reservations with Therizinosaurus and Jaguar. I like the Komodo Dragon Vampire Bat, and Tarbosaurus is an interesting addition. Pangolin is good as well, so is the African Dwarf Crocodile, but Axolotl is definitely a no-go. This one is once again imageless. Using an orca as part of the base is really, really bad idea. Just use the orca for intelligence. And the Barracuda, is this supposed to be an aquatic hybrid? Send this hybrid to fight Vax, even though it kind of breaks the rules, honestly. This is not that great when it comes to congruity and all that. It's kind of like a copy of, it's just kind of a mishmash of Vax and Dominus. It's not very good. Honestly, this might not even be a Goji Center Hybrid War submission. Now we're on to failure profile number 9, Pteranodonto Bataar. Okay, now this is just inaccurate. As you can see here, I don't really know what to say about this image other than the fact that the proportions look completely wrong. It's a shame because the genome is actually quite decent here. Maybe besides the Carnotaurus, but like T-Rex, Acrocanthosaurus is fine. Spinosaurus, Deinosuchus, Shrew, Vampire Bat, Chimp. Deinosuchus is at best okay, at worst mediocre. Carnotaurus is definitely no go though, especially when it comes to trying to grapple your opponent. It could mess with the congruity of trying to grapple the opponent. I don't know. This is not. There is no image. There's no mentioning of the contributors. Length 25 meters, beak tip to tail tip. I'm just not sure how to judge this. I can't. This hybrid was not submitted, and we're not going to be putting this in a failure profile. Shunosaurus as the base. Okay, this is interesting. From what I can see here, this is definitely quite cool. As you can see, and this is redundant because of the Shantungosaurus. 19 meters though. 19 meters is kind of pushing it, especially the Shantungosaurus, the largest one, the largest contributor. Actually, the Ling Wulong is probably better here. Now that I think about it, because this thing is also a sauropod, which keeps the congruity of the Shunosaurus. This can be an honorable mentions contender if it has more armor everywhere and it doesn't have that many splittable weak spots, as you can see. It's a fine design though. It's well built, obviously. This is another imageless hybrid, and crocodilians aren't really optimal when it comes to facing the Indominus. Blue whale could mess with the congruity of this creature. Argentinosaurus, probably not that much. Cetosuchus. I see. This thing. It's trying to be simple but effective, but ultimately it didn't really work. The congruity and using the limbs of this thing will be messed with when it comes to real-life mosasaurs and the blue whale. Next hybrid on the chopping block waiting to get hanked is the Sanguiceras 2.0. And oh boy, we've got several problems here. Trying to gore as a biped is not a good idea. Not to mention that tail club over here could throw this thing off balance. This is an incredibly imbalanced creature. Why is this thing 9.5 meters tall? It's just completely overscaled. It's probably one of those cases where this hybrid was saved just because this hybrid's model was made in a game that, okay, in a game is quite creative when it comes to the process of making this model. But otherwise, I'm not surprised. I don't know if this thing was submitted for Goji Center's Hybrid Wars, so I can't really judge it over here. Finally, here's another hybrid called Joe, another imageless one. No estimates, but from what I can see, this is just not creative enough. Like, I mean, this is practical, I guess. The armor is lacking though. Kubi or crocodile, sure, but maybe you can consider Megalodon's cartilage. You know, that's what Nemi did. I'm gonna say this, the genome over here is not bad. Well, besides the jaguar, lion, and the cheetah, because a T-Rex is too heavy to climb with jaguar, lion, and cheetah. Seriously, it's not good. Just remove those three. Just remove those three and you'll be fine. And here's this little question, asking me to explain how to upgrade your hybrid. I think I said that remove the jaguar, remove the lion, remove the cheetah, because this isn't bad at all. Instead of Kubi or crocodile, maybe you can consider using the Megalodon cartilage, like I answered before. And how to help me get Goji Center to notice, please. Honestly, I don't really have that much clue, because I'm not 100% genius or anything. I'm simply just a Goji Center fan who just gets noticed by Goji Center every now and then. I feel like I should probably try to interact with Goji Center more, a little bit. You know, this guy is a small channel and CF basically every single person and just being unknown in general. So I don't really know how to answer this question. But anyways, thank you guys for watching this, and hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you all in the next one. Special thanks to channel members for supporting this channel. It helps out a ton.